Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good ship lollipop, and welcome to the madness that is the Charlie Marx Show. Coming up on tonight's show, we have Viewers Letter, we have Storytime with Sir Percival Homosexual reading the amazing true story of the little girl, is it a little girl? Maybe a little boy? Well, it's one of them, who refused to eat her vegetables. We have all the news from around the world and beyond with CM News, and we have the Devil's Advocate, which goes into things that annoy you, things that bug you, and things that make you go irk in the night. Now, it's been a fascinating week and lots happening in the world, but who cares? So, before we go into the madness, I have to tell you that you can like, subscribe, share, because sharing is daring, and also you can ring the bell for notifications, and you can even buy me a coffee. I wouldn't recommend emailing the coffee, as it might go everywhere. But before all the madness that is to come, a quick word from our sponsor.
Tired of being the yes person? Fed up with a family that continue to bother you? I'll bet you have that son who's always asking for a loan that you know he'll never pay back. Or how about the daughter who always seems to need a babysitter? Or even the grandchildren who use your furniture like a soft play area? What if you're the son who is always getting asked to fix a TV because dad says the remote control's not working, especially when he's got it upside down? Well, not anymore. That's right, folks. For only $9.99, you can own the Winkle Wonkle Pest Exterminator. This perfect gift will ensure that your family do all their visiting through a Zoom call. Each Winkle Wonkle Pest Exterminator comes complete with sharp teeth and a collar, absolutely free. Each product is trained by a professional counsel state drug dealer and is perfect for keeping those unwanted guests at bay. Order now to get your pest exterminator and get a free protection suit of armor, only available from the Winkle Wonkle Company.
Thank you to our sponsor. Now it's time for Viewers Letter, where we will look into see if we can help someone, advise someone in a problem, or just simply share a thought that they have in Viewers Letter. Our letter this evening comes from a man called Ricardo. It reads, Dear Charlie, why do birds sing so gay, and lovers await the break of day? Why do they fall in love? Sincerely, Ricardo Rich and the Dreamers. Well, Mr. Rich, it sounds as if you have 3 questions there, but I will try and I will endeavour to answer as many as I can. First point, why do birds sing so gay? Well, I think now, what with the LGBTQ rights, I think birds have every opportunity to come out, and I believe that we all knew by the tweeting, you know, which side they batted for, but I think it's wonderful that now birds can sing Elton John songs. You know, it's fabulous. Your next point is, and lovers await the break of day. Well, I think lovers await until the break of day, which would be morning, because it seems very impolite to be part of the lover's scenario and not hang about. You don't want to get up afterwards, say thanks very much, and I need to go. Or I need to go back to my wife or my husband. So you know, you don't want to do that. So that's probably why they wait until the break of day. And the final point is, why do they fall in love? Well, love's a very funny thing. It can hit you at the most amazing times and some of the worst times. As you can see from, you know, the love between Elon Musk and Donald Trump is just growing, and it's lovely to see them, you know, walking down a pathway, holding hands, gazing into each other's eyes. Nobody can tell why they fall in love. Maybe they're just using each other. I don't know. But what I will say is that when you do fall in love, it is a wonderful thing, if that's what you're looking for. Well, I hope that helps you with some advice or some answers even to the 3 questions you posed, Ricardo. And like I say, if you have any problems, just write into Viewers Letter. We're always willing to read them out. Thank you.
Yes, I watched the Charlie Marx show on YouTube, and you should too. And will I be watching another one? Yes, I'll be back.
Right, welcome back to the Charlie Marx show with me, your host. And now, coming up, we still have Storytime with Sir Percival Homosexual, and of course the Devil's Advocate, and of course our very special guest. But first, it's time to get all the latest headlines from around the world and beyond with CM News.
Good evening and welcome to CM News with me, Lady Macbeth. Our top story tonight. An undercover reporter for the History Channel has revealed that according to recent finds, Adolf Hitler was not a very nice person. This has shaken up the history buffs around the world, as recent letters found in a kibbutz he was staying at suggest that he had a deep hatred for the Fuller moustache. Boris the Johnson reformed his band, The Blokes, dusted off his Wurlitzer, and is said to be heading back into the studio to record a Christmas single, hoping to reach #1. The single will not be the usual Christmas single, as it's all about Yom Kippur. His previous album, Boris the Johnson at the Wurlitzer, has sold out in Mary McDonald's record shop, with her saying that next time she'll order more than one. In the Snooker Open Championship, Sir Basil Montague III was knocked out by Ronnie O'Sullivan for having too many qualifications. Sir Montague suffered only a black eye. A 5-year-old entrepreneur has made his fortune this week and becomes Forbes magazine's youngest gazillionaire. Little Bobby Down set up a shop selling candles next door to an earwax removal clinic. The young whippersnapper plans to open a lemonade shop if he can secure premises next to a public toilet. And finally, my wife has filed for divorce. She is to get the house, the car, half my income and all my savings. I've to get her father for the weekends. And that was the latest headlines. This is Lady Macbeth for CM News. Good night.
Thank you, Lady Macbeth. More from the CM Newsroom next time. But now, my special guest. My guest this evening is the leading funeral designer. Please welcome Roger Livelong. Welcome to the show, Roger.
It's lovely to be here.
I must admit, I've never heard of a funeral designer before.
There's not many of us.
How many funeral designers are there?
In the world?
Well, in the UK.
There's me.
Right. Explain, what is it that a funeral designer does?
I organise who will be at the funeral. See, it's your day, but you don't get a say in who attends. So I make sure you have the guests you desire to be at your funeral.
Anything else?
Nope, that's about it.
Okay, well, thank you for coming on to the show, Roger, and
it's a very important part of the funeral, and I'd like to tell you about it.
You're killing time until your bus is due, aren't you?
Yes.
On you go.
Thank you. Well, your funeral is your final swan song, your adios, your final curtain. So it's vitally important that you have the right people surrounding your funeral. So realistically, you want a lot of people with various emotional abilities. You want to avoid allowing jokers and habitual criers, as both will ruin your final song. Sure, you'll want some tears, because the last thing you need is roaring laughter and everyone forgetting why they're there. I always suggest that I contact a celebrity to attend the graveside, but to stand at the back. This will have your friends and family wondering how you, as an unemployed person, knew Angelina Jolie.
And how do you stop certain people attending the funeral?
I will ban anyone who owes a deceased money, for we all know that these kinds of people like to attend just to smile. I also recommend that the client writes their own ugly uglies, and it's very depressing listening to someone trying to start their comedy stand-up profession at your funeral when they do it.
We don't know when we're going to die, so when do people contact you?
You're absolutely right. So it's best to contact me, sooner rather than later.
What about people you're not keen on?
Well, it's important to invite not only friends but enemies, and then video yourself telling everyone that just how horrible they are.
I imagine it's probably best to video yourself before your death, as it would be a bit creepy after your death.
Oh, I think I'll need to change the brochure. Anyway, it's also recommended that you could perhaps say that the horrible person at your funeral was actually a nice person, and that it was so kind of them to be picking up the tab for the whole thing. Some people say that when they die, they want people to remember them by having a large party at their funeral, but that is just a lie. They usually request lots of tears, much screaming, and at least 7 attempted suicides.
Picking up on a point you made earlier, I think it would be good to invite people the deceased owed money to.
Absolutely. And they sometimes go further by inviting people from the council, the mechanic that was expecting to be paid for the huge job he had when you put your car in to get air in your tyres, and of course moneylenders.
So the only way they'd get their money would be if a psychic could extract your card number.
That's only happened 5 or 6 times, to be fair, and there were no result.
So who is the best type of guest to invite to your funeral?
I would have to say, especially if you're a straight man, that you invite a group of drag queens, just to give your guests something to ponder whilst they have their dinner.
Any final tips?
Yes.
Well, that's all we have time for, but I'm sure your bus will be here soon. And thank you for telling the audience everything they need to know to save them getting you in. Ladies and gentlemen, the newly unemployed Roger Livelong.
Oh, crap.
Join me next time when our guest of the show will be someone talking about something. But now, it's time to slip into your pyjamas, get your cosy blanket, throw another weasel in the fire, and cuddle up on the sofa with a nice glass of wine as Sir Percival Homosexual reads this week's bizarre tale, The Little Boy Who Wouldn't Eat His Vegetables, in Storytime.
Hello children, now it's Pensioners' Day at the hairdressers and I'm going to get my hair done. You know, a wee treat for myself. So today's story time is going to be not as long as the other stories I've told. But are you sitting comfortably with your little bag of cocaine? Right, then we'll begin. This story is called The Little Boy Who Refused to Eat His Vegetables. One day a little boy refused to eat his vegetables and he died of cardiovascular disease. Bye-bye.
Well, that was an epic. And Sir Percival Homosexual will be back next time with another, hopefully longer story. But now, it's time to air those gripes and moans in The Devil's Advocate. Welcome to this week's Devil's Advocate, and my topic for this particular Devil's Advocate is again something that annoys the hell out of me. I've titled this one Counsel of the Stupid, and today the problem I have is with us. You see, it's our fault that these people within the council are there because we elect them. So let's find out what exactly the council are failing at. Well, a lot of bollards. There are an awful lot of bollards up, and this is a hazard when driving in an area you don't really know and suddenly you get a bollard up your front of your car. Now, it's not something that is just a little mistake. It's a huge error on their part. Cycle lanes. Now, I'm not adverse to cyclists, especially when they don't ride their bikes. But having cycle lanes and giving cyclists the complete power over anybody else on the road is looking for trouble. Where I live, there was a cycle lane put up, and funnily enough, a lot of bollards were placed down the sides to allegedly protect the cyclists. Now, this made it very difficult for the drivers to see the cyclists in their lycra and sometimes their hats and their shades, and a lot of cyclists were nearly killed. So the council had spent a lot of money putting them up and then a lot of money taking them down. Brilliant. Speed limits. Now, this is perhaps a conspiracy, and I may go viral with this, but I believe that speed limits are brought down to encourage drivers to sit in longer lanes of traffic, thus using up more fuel. Then you have to go to the petrol station and fill your car up more often. A car nowadays, especially newer cars, are not designed to go at 30 miles an hour. They never were. And even at 30 miles an hour, my car keeps telling me to change down a gear. Now, charges for community buildings, and this is brilliant. As a writer wanting to do something back for the community, even though it had done sod all for me, I decided that I would get a little hall, and then I would take some children and teach them all about theatre and the backstage and stuff like that. I took my proposal to the council, who said to me, "That's a great idea, that is very positive and it will help the community. It's going to cost you X amount for hiring the hall per hour." And I thought, well, I'm doing this for nothing. I'm getting a crew in to do it for nothing. So shouldn't the council foot the bill for the hall, i.e. not charge themselves anything? No, they wanted to charge £25 plus per hour. Now, when I asked why this was, they said it was for the caretaker. And I thought to myself, wow, the caretaker is making more than the nurse. Funnily enough, the hall that I was wanting to use was a hall that was gifted by some famous person back in the Victorian age, who gifted it to the people of the area to use as they wished. And now the council own it? Well, that's quite amazing. Decorating roundabouts. This is a complete waste of taxpayers' money. Roundabouts have plant pots and all sorts of designs put on them, and nobody cares because it's a roundabout. It is used to go round about it. Shutting roads for years at a time. Council are fantastic at this because they have to use up a certain amount of money in April so that they get more money next year. In a shopping area where there are lots of small run local businesses, family run businesses, there are charges now in car parks and ticketing, you know, for on double yellow lines put up all over the place, and to be told you can't park in certain places. Now, that really bugs me because these people are relying on people coming, doing shopping in the family business or the small business, and these shops are now closing down because people can't park beside them because of car parking charges. Why do the council not encourage people to park and encourage more money going in to the economy by buying things from these local people? Well, if you have an answer to that, let me know. But there was always lots of money in the pot. But because the councils have to use that money in order to get more money, the money just disappears. Why not take that money, put it in a bank, anyone's bank, not a politician's bank obviously, but somebody's bank, and hand it out to the people who are electing these councillors? Everyone would have their heating allowance. Councils are like football teams, and this is what it comes down to. They are vying to win the cup, to be Council of the Year, by spending a lot and then getting even more. They want their schools to be the best. They want to be seen as the best council in the world, to the detriment of everyone who lives there. So, in order for us to fix this, I think the normal person, the pensioner, the person who has seen the rights and wrongs of what the council do, put them in charge. Let them run the council, and I guarantee you won't see flower pots and roundabouts. You won't see buildings getting torn down. You won't see a lot of things, because these people are the people who live in the area and care about the area. Thank you for watching the Charlie Marx Show. Join us next time for more insane nonsense. And don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, hit the icon for notifications. Watch me on www.charliemarx.co.uk, where you can find out what I'm up to lately, and also you can buy me a coffee, apparently. So until next time, if you don't watch the Charlie Marx Show, then you are not worthy.